guys, it's Cindy Leach, your polymer clay tutor, and today's studio tip is using a jewelry jig from Bead Landing. Now, I picked up this little tool from Michael's, and I make a lot of ear wires for my polymer clay jewelry, and I usually make them by hand and have a lot of different ways of doing it. But I thought I'd pick up this jig and try it out and see how it works and see if it might be a nice tool for you guys out there. So what it is this tool here. You put your wire in and wrap it around these different designs, and there's a bunch of patterns here, as you can see. Now, inside this little box is 4 of these plastic inserts that have different patterns, and I'll just quickly show them to you. So this is a nice feature with this tool. It's all set up nicely, and then you take your design and pop it into the top. Now, this particular jig comes with 4 different patterns. This pattern here is what they're calling a clasp, and it makes these 2 pieces here. It's a jump ring, a large jump ring, and a toggle, and then this toggle is supposed to fit through here, through this little jump ring here, and then become a clasp on the end of a necklace or a bracelet or something. I don't like this particular pattern. I mean, the jump ring's kind of nice. Really don't like the toggle, especially at the 20 gauge wire that I'm using here. But no worries, the other patterns I do like, so I would use those instead. The next one I'll show you is this ear wire here. And these sets each make like 4 pairs, so 8 different ear wires, and it makes a smaller kind of fish hook style ear wire like this with a almost sort of oval shaped bottom here and a bit of a hook. This would be my 3rd favorite out of the 4 designs. I find this a little bit open, and so it can pop out of your ear a little bit, but you could always adjust it and close it up a bit more if you wanted to. The next design I'm going to show you is another sort of larger fish hook design, and here is the pattern here made. It's a little bit more larger with a larger loop at the bottom and quite a sharp bend here. This is a nice design and quite workable and quick to make. But my favorite of the 4 designs is this last one here. And most likely we'll end up using this the most out of any of the patterns. And it's quite a large fish hook, but the design comes right down to here. This wears very nicely. It won't pop out of your ear as easily. And then if you hammer the edge, this front edge here, this curve, you get quite a nice modern design. And let me just show you how I've used those in some earrings here. Now, this is a iris bead that I made into a pair of earrings, and I've used this particular fish hook design for the ear wire. Very nice and pretty. It really suits this style of bead. I've also used the same design in a sweet pea earring, sweet pea flower, and it looks quite good in that. Oops, don't want to drop that. Anyways, so I'll just quickly show you how this all works. Now, I made all these ear wires, and this is the waist that I ended up with from making, 4 sets of 8 ear wires and things. So there is some waste. You wouldn't want to use these on your really expensive wire like gold or gold filled. You can use it on silver filled. It's not too much waste, especially on this pattern here with the largest fish hook. There's not too much waste. So I'll show you how to use that. For ear wires, my favorite wires to use are 20 gauge or 21 gauge. I would practice with a copper wire to start out with, so you get the feel of how this works and which designs you like yourself. This is actually some copper wire I picked up at Home Depot actually, but that isn't always available. Another option, and a more, some copper will go green in some people's ears, so it's not the best choice for ear wires for some people. Silver filled is a good choice. I got this at wiresculpture.com, and it's a half hard 20 gauge round wire, silver filled. Another great option is anodized niobium wire. This won't react with people's ears, so you get these beautiful colors, and it's a beautiful wire to use. Also in half hard 20 gauge. And another option is bronze wire. This one is 20 gauge, but it's dead soft. Dead soft would be the easiest wire to use in here because it'll just run around the track like butter. But unless you have a rock or a tumbler where you can work harden the dead soft, it'll be too floppy to use in your ears. So half hard is a little trickier to work with, but it's a better wire to use to keep the shape, to keep it from just falling apart or bending too easily. So the way this works is you take your wire, and it's best to work off the spool. There's a tiny little hole at each end, one here and one here. And what you do is you stick your wire into the hole and you push it in as far as you can go, and then you follow the pattern. So I'm going to push this wire down into the track like that, kind of bend it around the pattern, and it can be a little tricky. And you go around and around, trying to be as smooth as you can, holding it down and keeping it in the track. The first couple of earrings are tricky, I think anyways. But after that, once you get going, you can decide whether you like to move the tool or the wire around the track. You go around like this, and as you can see, it's trying to pop out. Now, you may think that this is not worth the effort, but once you get better at it and start whipping around this track, you've cranked out 8 ear wires in a very short period of time. So I would continue doing that, but I'm going to stop now. Now, what happens is you've got these wires here on the track. Now, hopefully Doug can see it, but on the pattern is a little dotted line right down in there, and that's your cutting line. So you would take your flush nose pliers and cut right on the cutting line, right in here, at each of these junctions. Right there, right there. That's jumping all over the place. Then you get all your little wires, and I cut them all off. And then there is a little tail of waste on each of these. A little more on the first one because some had to go down into that hole. But what you're going to do is take your pliers and just trim off a little piece in here so that it fits. Oops, I'll flip it around. Trim off the little tail, and then you have your ear wire. Now, because you've been bending it around and stuff there, you'll need your flat nose pliers to straighten it out, or your chain nose, and do a little bit adjusting. Then you have a nice ear wire, and you have a whole bunch of them after you quickly go through the whole set. Then what you need to do is just take a wire rounder. I have these little cup burrs, and you just take the wire rounder and you round off the end of your ear wire. That makes it safe to put in your ear. And if you like the added touch of hammering, then you would just take your steel block and hammer the front curve of the wire. Never hammer the area that goes through your ear because it'll make it sharp. But hammering the front part makes it look nice, and it hardens up the wire so that it's less springy. so it'll hold its shape more. So I hope you found that helpful. This is a neat little tool. Despite it springing all over the place, you'd get a good handle on it, especially when you're not trying to hold it up for the camera. You can do quite a few quite quickly with it. There is a little bit of waste on some of the patterns, but it's a neat product to use. Now, if you enjoyed that, you found that helpful, then make sure to push that like button. It helps get the word out to others. As well, if you want, you can share this video. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them below. And my question for today is, would you use a tool like this for making ear wires, or would you rather just buy the ear wires already made? So I will see you next time, and bye for now.